Westside Gunn is back with his latest full-length LP, And Then You Pray For Me. This is the highly anticipated sequel to Pray for Paris, which many regard as Westside Gunn's best album. Now, this project is 23 tracks long. It has an extremely stacked list of features, an extremely stacked list of producers, and also has a cover art designed by the late great Virgil Abloh. Does it live up to the hype? I'm gonna say mostly yes and a little bit no. So first things first, let's talk about the beats. Many people are gonna come to a Westside Gunn album for that high level of underground curation and perfect beat selection. I think that he's one of the best in the industry at doing this. And this album, for the most part, is no exception, aside from a couple of tracks, okay? The first thing that you're going to notice is that there's a lot more trap production here than what we've become accustomed to with the Griselda camp. I'm all for pushing the culture and evolving the sound. However, some of these trap beats just do not land with the flows that Westside Gunn is able to give. On the flip side of that, we have some of the highest highs with incredible beats by Conductor Williams and the like. So briefly, a couple songs that just did not work for me, guys. I'm going to say JD Wrist. I'm going to say 1989. These are by no means bad songs, but I just don't know if the production is a good match for the more slow flow that Westside Gunn gives. Even Stove God Cooks couldn't save some of those songs, like 1989. On the flip side of things, we have some of the highest highs in terms of production choices. Take a look at something like Mama's Primetime. Take a look at something like Kitchen Lights. Take a look at something like the Return of Flip's Leg, okay? These are some of the most perfect soundscapes for Griselda to just float over. I honestly think that Return of Flip's Leg is Conductor Williams' best beat to date. Okay, let's move on to the features here. We have an extremely stacked feature list. We've got JID, we got Denzel Curry, we've got Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, we've got Eastside Flip, you know? And this really goes without saying, but JID on Mama's Primetime, okay? This is an S-tier verse. I cannot explain to you guys my excitement when JID gets such a long part of that song to just absolutely tear apart that beat. The way that he stretches his words to create rhyme schemes is just top level. Take a look at, and I don't have the exact quote here, but he says something about, I get money like a magnet, and then he says, I put a red dot on that MAGA hat, and it's just like the way he's stretching out the words to create the rhyme scheme is just truly top tier. We've got Conway the Machine sounding more hungry than he has in years on this album. We've got a Benny the Butcher verse, which of course delivers. Some more underground features. We have a return of Carter Williams, who is a tap dance artist that was featured on Pray for Paris. Guys, honestly, there wasn't really a feature that didn't land for me here. The last feature I'd like to shout out is Casey on the very final song, And Then You Pray For Me. He gets this whole track to himself, and I find this to be a very Kanye move of Westside Gunn to finish out the project with Casey. Casey absolutely floats on that song. I really, really liked it. We've talked about beats. We've talked about features. Moving on from that, I'd like to round out the conversation by just telling you guys a couple of my favorite highlights in this album. Mama's Primetime is just a perfect song. Honestly, we've got 3 great verses through the main half of the song, and then it finishes out with the tap dancing outro. There's just a little bit of something for everyone there. Kitchen Lights, we have a gorgeous, gorgeous string sample. we have Stove God Cooks shining brighter than ever, okay? I mean, give this guy an album already. I know that behind the scenes there are some label issues where he can't release a Griselda album right now. And so Westside Gunn is doing the favor of putting him on, many of his last projects over the years to feature and show people how amazing he is. And all I can say is I'm excited for the day that Stove God is free from his last record deal, because he will truly begin to shine. It's been less than 24 hours since this album's been out. I've listened to it 4 times over, and these are just my initial thoughts. I expect to develop more feelings about certain tracks on this album as time goes on, but I just had to get my thoughts out there because I'm very excited. I think you guys should all listen to this record. So, the vinyl dropped on October 3rd of this month, and, I'm a collector. I love my Griselda, okay? I've got a couple of Westside Gunn records behind me. I've got plenty of stuff from DOP Bandcamp. And so I'm sitting there October 3rd with 2 phones open, a desktop computer open, and of course Bandcamp is crashing as the record dropped. And I wait 30 minutes and I couldn't get through, guys. And that's just part of the fun of being a collector. And it was pretty, and while I will say disappointing, I am okay with it, because that is part of the highs of record collecting. Like, these were all game time decisions that I had to make to purchase these, and it feels good once you have them. So I'll play the game, and I'm glad to anyone that got the 5,000 copies of And Then You Pray For Me with the Mona Lisa cover. Good for you. All right. If anyone wants to hook it up for, retail price, a little over retail, you can hit my line. To conclude my thoughts on this album, I think that there's some of the highest highs and the lowest lows of Westside Gunn's discography, but I'm really not complaining, all right? There is a ton to delve into here and a ton to get excited about. So tell me what you guys are thinking about this project. I have seen some of the discourse online kind of condemning the trap beats, and then others saying that they really loved it. So what do you guys think? And I'll see you on the next